What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Comic Breakdown. I know we've missed the last couple of days. We had some technical difficulties going on, but we're getting back at it. And today we're going to be going over all the new issues of the Age of Revelation from the X-Men comics. To start it all off is going to be one of my favorites coming out of this entire series so far, and one that I have been highly anticipating. Now, if you've been following this channel for any amount of time, and if I've talked about Kid Omega, you know how much I love him as a character. And the Krakoan era really did see Quentin Quire get just so much growth, so much character development. But he's always been a guy that's predispositioned to follow the bad guy. When it comes to morality, he's always towed the line a little bit. But there's one thing that he has always stood firm about: mutant survival. So it is no leap of the imagination to believe that Quentin Quire now works for Revelation. Quentin Quire operates the entire operation of the spy network. The story's starting us off with a mother and a father. Their son had been babbled, speech taken away, unable to understand any forms of communication. This was the punishment of Revelation. The mother, Jamie, she feels she has no other option. She feels like this is her only path forward. She's working with the Resistance. And the Resistance, they are well aware of Kid Omega and his operation. What he has is the Omega Kids. And so with this extensive spy network, not one individual can ever have all the information. It is spread between individuals, each person doing their own part in the overall plan. The less any individual knows, the less there is any psychic over here. And so as we watch everything set up and everything get into place, what we see is Jamie picking up a rifle. The plan has been set up just perfectly so that she has Revelation in her sight. Looking down the scope, she gets ready to pull the trigger. But when she does, everything goes purple. The Omega Kids shut off her breathing, and this is where we see Quentin Quire. We see the 4 kids, and they just executed Jamie. This is where Quentin goes on to ask the kids what went wrong. An after-action analysis of everything that transpired. There was one key moment where something went wrong. He wants to know what it was. This is where we go through one by one of the kids. We have Curtis Taylor Jr., 14 years old. He is a beta level psychic. We have Nell Widows, 15 years old, psychic empath, gamma level mutant. We have Ala Bozkurt, 16 years old, powerful psychic visions, and the alpha of the Omega Kids. And then there is Bailey Quinn, 8 years old, uncharted psychic abilities, unreliable clairvoyance, and lethal psionic blades. But diving into what went wrong was that small little patch. There was a small little purple spot when we saw Jamie running through a field. This was a glitch in the psychic projection. Now, in this case, it didn't really do anything or stop anybody. But if she had recognized it, she would have seen that it was a projection. If she thought it was a projection, then she didn't fear the consequences of her actions, which means she might have acted out of character because she believed it was a projection, because it wasn't actually reality. And their job is to take down people, execute people that are really gonna have intent to do harm. But they have to prove that intent. They do that through these psychic projection kind of VR simulations. But if they know it's VR, if they know it's not real, they don't fear death, they don't fear consequences, and so you can't take it as reliable. He's telling the kids that if we're gonna do this, we have to do this perfect. Because what we don't do is kill innocent people. These kids are supposed to be the best of the best. The Omega Kids, Honor Class, Revelation's elite spy network. There is no room for error in this. And he even goes on to say that when I was a creepy little psychic boy, I had a professor who tried to make me feel safe, feel loved and accepted. That's not what this is. You're not here to make friends. This is not the X-Men. This is when young Bailey comes up and she's like, the X-Men will be the end of all of us. They will murder our world and dance on our corpse. Even Quentin's like, damn, chill, Bailey. Like, calm down. But as Quentin heads off to the kitchen to make some food for these kids, this is where we have Phoebe arrive. 1/3 of the world's most powerful psychic hive mind. Also Quentin's ex-girlfriend. Phoebe really came around to really just check on him, to see how he's doing, hearing everything that he's been up to, and understanding what's going on with these kids. Phoebe's gotta ask, are you doing the right thing? She truly feels that these kids are just too young to be hunting and killing, though Quentin would argue that they weren't much younger when they started doing all this stuff. And so Phoebe's gotta know, is Revelation making you do this? Has he taken control of you? And putting up his Scout's honor, he's like, I am not now, nor have I ever been under the influence of an evil psychic thrall. Present company excluded. But he allows her into his mind. And what she finds is that Quentin is in fact a true believer. There's basically nothing Quentin wouldn't do to protect his people. He had committed fully to this philosophy of mutant liberation before he even had his learner's permit. In all reality, this is not out of character for Quentin. He believes that this is the best path forward for all mutant kind, and he's gonna do what he can to ensure that that happens. Anything for the cause. But he also goes on to say that these kids, they're more hardline than he ever was. They act like they're too cool for mutant liberation, but he really does believe that he might be getting through to them. Though Phoebe has a different opinion because she says that they're not the same as you and I. She's seen into their minds. The two of them, they used to be fighting for something. These kids, they lived their whole life in a paradise. Their faces always in a screen, but also tells Quentin that his problem is he used to be the coolest one around, and now he's aging out. When she puts all joking aside, it really comes down to her wanting to be careful with the kids. When Quentin puts this food down, we see that the kids, they're keeping a secret. They go to what they call the secret place. And in this secret place, mathematical equations on all the surrounding sky. We see that the kids are plotting something. They're doing something here, and it's not good. They're worried that Quentin is gonna find out. Now, 8-year-old Bailey, she's like, I don't really mind if he finds out. I'll just kill everybody. While they tell Bailey not so loud, like, can you be sure he can't hear us? But they say to relax, because the old man, he's gone. He wouldn't know it if you walked up to him and lit him on fire. This is where we see Quentin Quire in the kitchen, pouring coffee onto the floor, as if his mind is just completely gone. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Now, you guys already know, I love it. I think it's awesome. I think it was a lot of fun. I'm very curious on what is going on with Quentin. I think it's one of two options. Either one, Revelation truly did mess with his mind, so much so that not even another psychic can detect it. Or two, these Omega kids together are more powerful than they thought. That together they can even trick Phoebe. It seems like Quentin's kind of on an autopilot, but they do worry that Quentin is going to hear them. At the end of the day, he's an Omega level telepath. And like he was saying in the beginning, the smallest glitch in the system, someone can see that and they would be able to recognize what's going on. So while this comic, it definitely left us with a lot of questions, I'm really excited to dive into what happens next. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know your thoughts, let me know your theories. If you want to get caught up on everything that is going on with this series, go ahead, check out the link in my description as well as the top of this video. It's gonna get you caught up on everything that has been going on with the X-Men Age of Revelation. If you would like to support the channel, you can always do so by joining the channel membership. Much like Patreon, having a bunch of different tiers, it really does help out the channel tremendously. But if you can't do that, I completely understand. Another way to support me is simply by subscribing to the channel, liking the video, hitting that notification bell, and with that being said, until the next breakdown.